Hi guys! I have been on YouTube for 4 years now. I've not had a lot of success on YouTube yet because I've not been very consistent. I'm trying to be more consistent. I go through these phases where I start to be really consistent and then I fall off, and then start again and then fall off. So hopefully this is the time where it sticks. I kind of just wanted to come on here and kind of introduce myself really quick before this video starts, because a lot of you are probably new, and those of you who aren't maybe still don't really know me that well. So here's just a little introduction to me. My name is Emma.lou.sou. Recently, I turned 21 years old. I am a college student. I live in Idaho currently, but originally I'm from Southern California. I'm actually about to graduate college in the next 5 months. I graduate. I have loved sewing since I was 6 years old. That's when I started sewing. Originally as a kid, I just sewed a lot of stuffed animals and pillows and stuff like that. When I was a kid, I was into toys. I'm not a kid anymore, so I'm not really into toys. So by the time I was 14, I got really into fashion and clothing, and now I love it. I just love how you can express yourself with clothing. And also, for me as a kid, I didn't have access to every article of clothing that I wanted. It just, I didn't have money to go and buy every piece of clothing I wanted, and there also wasn't really a reason to spend money on it. But nevertheless, I still wanted really cool clothes that I would see in stores or in magazines. I used to collect fashion magazines and literally cut out the pages and make like mood boards with the pieces of clothing in the magazines that I really liked. So I knew how to sew, and by age 14, I started to learn how to make clothing. I was not good at it at first. I think the first pair of clothes I made was this pair of pants, and they ended up being too big, but then they had a drawstring, and they were just like this weird green color, which I love green, especially back then too, but it just was not the vibe. So they turned into pajama pants. Then I made a dress eventually. My senior year, either my junior or senior year of high school, I actually took a concurrent enrollment class, which is like a college class you take in high school, and it was for sewing because I already knew I loved it. I was making Barbie clothes when I was a little kid. So I took a concurrent enrollment class for sewing, and I made a pillowcase, some PJ pants, something else, and a shirt, a button-up shirt, and and a skirt too. But the shirt just turned out totally amazing, and with my other previous sewing projects that were specifically for clothing, they never turned out right. They were too big or just not cute. And this shirt, this button-up shirt, was amazing. It fit me perfectly. It looked so professional. And even now, I've been sewing clothes professionally and in college for 3.5 years now. And that shirt, that first really nice shirt I made, is still one of the nicest things I have ever made. I'm so proud of it and still wear it all the time. After that shirt, I knew immediately that I needed to study fashion and sewing and clothing construction in college, and so I have. So now I am 3 years into my college career. I graduate in the next 5 months, and I am still completely in love with sewing as I was a few years ago. It's something that comes so naturally. I learn more and more as the years go by that I work best when I can use my hands. I just do best with things that I can actually touch and feel, and they just look so much better when I can use my hands to create it rather than, a computer or something like that. Anyways, all that to say that I'm about to graduate in one of the best things I've ever learned, and I love it. And now I have this YouTube channel because I have always loved video and film, and it's so inspiring to me, and I love to see what other people create with it. I knew since I was probably 16 or 17 that I loved video and I wanted to use it to create inspiring films. I'm still learning how to do that, so along with my concentration is in apparel construction, I am getting a cluster in video production too. And it's because I just love the documentation of life and through video. This YouTube video is mainly here to show how I sew. It is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Like, I find so much joy in creating clothing and just taking materials and making it into something you can wear, and it's so expressive and beautiful to me. I love finding some inspiration on Instagram, Pinterest, all over social media, finding this piece of clothing that is so beautiful or trendy or something like that, and just creating it out of nowhere. And it's totally unique to me. It's something I found the fabric for, I made the pattern for, I made it, and it's amazing. I'm just gonna get into what the video is actually about and just show you guys how I sew and stay creative throughout my week. I used to sew way more often, but this semester has just been really crazy. So I only sew like once a week now, probably. I used to sew almost every day. Now it's just like once a week, which is still really often. But I sew for multiple reasons. I have an Etsy shop where I sell digital sewing patterns, so I sew for that. And then I also sew for school because I am an apparel construction major. So I will be sewing for that as well. And then I just sew for myself too, just because I love clothing and I love to wear new things. We have a lot of fun sewing projects that I want to do today. Let's just get into the sewing projects and we'll chat through it. Welcome to my second bed. Originally, I was supposed to share a room, but then I never got a roommate, so I have my own room and just moved the bed around, so I have 2 beds because I love sitting on beds. Anyways, let's get into our sewing portion today. If you watched my video last week, maybe you know this. If not, good luck. In last week's video, we made a new pattern. So I have the Celia dress pattern that's on my Etsy shop for women. But I've been encouraged to start making kids patterns, which I love that idea. I talk a lot about it in last week's video. So if you want, go and watch that. I'll have it linked down below. In my last video, I showed you how I go about making patterns, and I learned how to make kids patterns. So this is what it is. This is the pieces: front bodice, back bodice, the sleeve, the little pocket piece, and then the skirt piece is just measured So it's like a measurement chart, and then you just cut it based off of the size that you're trying to do. With this blue material, we are making a long-sleeved, long skirt version of the Celia dress for kids. And it's for my cousin, by the way, who is 5. And I cut these all out a few days ago, and now it's just time to sew them. So we got those pieces, and then I'm going to be making a short sleeveless option out of this other plaid material, which is actually a bed sheet, but it's going to be super cute. But that is one thing we're going to be sewing, is those 2 dresses. I used to have a job where I sewed kids' clothes like every week, and usually it takes me like an hour to make a kid dress. So these are going to be super easy to just whip out. I'm confident I can finish both of them today. The other thing I need to do, and I'm actually going to start on this first, I am making my best friend's graduation dress, and she really wanted a sparkly one. So yeah, we've already gotten the material. I am just getting into making the pattern, but because it's a formal dress, I really want it to be perfect on her, you know, like fit her really well so that she's super confident in it. So we're just going to be making a draft of the pattern today. The bodice, it's really the bodice that we need to do the draft for, because the rest of it isn't fitted. It's just the bodice that's fitted. So I have drafted some pattern pieces. I'm making the dress have princess seams, at least on the bodice portion. So I have these pieces. I'm going to tape them up, and then I'm going to cut out the pieces from like some muslin or an old bed sheet or something like that, sew it up, and later today I'm visiting with her, and so I'll have her try it on and see if it works. So that is number 1 priority. Then the dresses. Then I kind of want to make some pants, which I'll tell you guys more about later if I have time. This video is going up tomorrow, so it just depends on how much time I have today to do things. It's currently 12 p.m., so I have a lot of hours to work with, and not any homework, just filming and doing, you know, other like work stuff for my Etsy shop. So let's just get cranking. Okay, so here's the draft. This is my makeshift best friend. This is her measurements. So while sewing it, it looked small, but we'll see what happens. It's actually pretty good. Yeah, I think it is a teeny bit too tight. I just realized it's not really on this shoulder. I don't know what happened. I think for some reason the neckline is mega tiny, and the armholes are super tiny too, and I don't know why. I think I'm just going to pin the front where I want it, but I'm also going to trim the neckline so it's smaller, and also the armholes so they're smaller. But maybe I should just make a whole different one. I don't know. I really think something went weird with my pattern making, because yeah, the neckline is so tiny, and the sleeve openings are really tiny too. So let's just snip like half an inch off both. That's already making a really big difference. I didn't sew this side because a zipper is meant to go here. The neckline is too small for a head to go over. She wants a V-neck, but that's another thing I need to figure out. It's not that bad. Maybe a little too tight. And I don't want it to be uncomfortable for her. Here is the back. It's got the princess seams, but it's just for the bodice that I want those princess seams. Okay, this is a good place to get started. I'm going to make some alterations to my pattern. V-neck. I just want a little bit of an idea. This is probably not super centered. I'm just freehanding with it. I like this side. Well, let's just move on to the kid dresses. It is way later, but I met with my friend. We fit the bodice draft to her and it was great. I think it's going to be really good. I might make a few alterations, but besides that, it's basically the same and it fit really good. So, we're done with that part. But the sewing continues. I know the lighting is not it. It's dark outside, so we have to deal with it if I plan on seeing while I sew. The next thing we're going to do is sew up the kid dresses, and like I said, I'm fairly certain that each one will probably take me like an hour. They're really simple to sew up. So I'm just gonna get started on that and we'll chat at the end and I'll show you guys. I want the dresses done by Sunday, so that's why I'm working on them tonight because I won't be able to the rest of the weekend. Let's just get started sewing those. Okay, it is now 10 p.m., so really late. I finished one of the dresses. Well, kind of. So, this is the sleeveless version, short version too. I thought I finished it, and then as I was constructing the second one, I remembered that kids have really big heads, and I was like, I wonder if this would fit over her head. Then I looked up how big a 5-year-old's head is, and no, it would not. So on the second one, I had to make the keyhole much bigger, which I still like and I'm totally fine with because I really like the high neckline, so I'm okay with a big keyhole. So that's what the bodice for the second one's looking like. And then here are the sleeves. They're just not attached yet. But I will do that tomorrow, I think. And then this one is done, except I don't know if you can see, I penciled in the extension for the keyhole. So I need to fix that on the pattern. But otherwise, I think it's great. on Sunday, I will try this on my little cousin and just hope that it fits her. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do that Sunday if I can finish both of these in time for that, because if it fits her, I would also really love to be able to just take the pictures also, so that I can just wrap up this kid's pattern. I'm probably going to just cut out this keyhole and then hand sew it, which is going to take a long time, but I'm okay with that. I'm so proud of this. I think it's super cute. I'm pretty sure it will fit her, but I guess we'll find out. Anyways, that's how both of those went. Like I said, it's 10 p.m., which is pretty late. And although I had wished to be able to accomplish more sewing projects today, I'm very proud with what I did accomplish. I've been wanting to make these dresses for a really long time, and I'm glad that I finally was able to do it. I always have tons and tons of different sewing ideas in the back of my head, and so I'm sure in future videos you will see a lot more of that. One of the future videos coming up is going to be making my best friend's graduation dress. You saw some of that today because of the drafting portion, but now that the pattern's pretty nailed down, I'm going to start just getting into actually making the dress. That video probably won't be coming out for a few more weeks, but subscribe and turn on your bell notification if you want to see when it comes out. I do content like this all the time, specifically sewing content, but yeah, that was my day today, and I thank you for joining me and joining my chat and then joining my sewing. Again, if you guys did a little sewing project on your own, tag me on Instagram because I would love to see what you're working on. Thank you again for joining me today. I'm going to end the video here. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, subscribe and like this video if you want to see more of my content, and I'll see you guys next Friday.